Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lotus Rewind Episode 5. Today, I'm joined by Stubby, once again returning from the depths and healed up from the sickness that has been going around. I'm glad to have you back, Stubby. Zymphonic, of course, always with us. And today, we have a special guest, Neebs. Some of you may know him as also Heartbreak on DZG Olympus as the jungler. Neebs, glad to have you here with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming out for us. So for those people in the audience who are not familiar with you, why don't you give us a brief rundown of who you are as a player?
So I jungle for DZG Olympus. I've been around the competitive scene for like a while now, on and off. I basically only like play this game, and then I play WoW sometimes. So when I'm playing WoW, I don't play League. So I kind of switch on and off. But I mean, I've played mid for a couple teams over the years, and I've played jungle. And yeah, that's it, really.
All right. Well, I'm gonna pass it over to Stubby. Stubby.
All right, so I got a question. Playoffs are around the corner. I'm just gonna get straight into it. So, Division A, right now the seeding goes Absolute Esports, DZG Olympus, your team in second place, Lotus Black in third, and Catalyst Wraith in fourth. And then fighting for the final playoff spot. I mean, looks to me, it looks like um, Catalyst Wraith, Cape Dogs, Valor are going to be fighting for the spot. So do you think that, someone who's played in the division, um, do you think that Cape Dogs Valor can kind of sneak in maybe to that fourth spot? Do you have maybe high hopes for them, or do you think it's just going to be a standard, the 1, 2, 3, 4 seeding it is right now?
I mean, rumor around Banter Chat is it's CW season. So, I mean, from what I know, it's going to be Catalyst Wraith, but we haven't played them yet. I know we played Cape Dogs Valor. Uh, and I thought they were like pretty good. I mean, I think most of the teams in this league are good. It's really nice to see that actually. Um, but yeah, I would say I'm gonna go with Catalyst Wraith. Might squeeze in there. Actually, you said they're fourth right now, right?
Yeah, they're fourth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would.
and you're playing them this week, so.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Cape Dogs has to win theirs, and then if Catalyst Wraith loses to us, then Cape Dogs is in 4A.
You guys have to beat them. They have to beat you once. If you guys 2-0 Callus Wraith, and Cape Dogs 2-0s, then Cape Dogs is in. If Callus Wraith gets one game on you guys, then Callus Wraith is in no matter what.
Ooh.
I'd hate to see my boy Shady Gecko not get in, and we also always have to have a warm up game, So we'll see how things go,
Okay.
But we might have to prove a point this week, so might 2-0, easy peasy. We'll see how it goes.
All right, and so moving on to my next question. So, Division A and Division B, let's just say we're going into playoffs, and let's just say, for competitive integrity reasons, DZG Olympus, you guys, you know the teams, you know the players. If you would vote for one team to kind of just win it all, except your team, for reasons, of course, who do you think, just off the back of your head, do you think like just maybe based off maybe someone you faced or teams that you've seen in the past, who do you think takes it all?
So
I'm
I
kind of putting you on
think
the spot. My
no,
apologies.
that's fine, that's fine. So I've scrimmed against Nuffies a couple times. I don't know if he remembers me. And then I know AKM Zealot, which I think his original username was like Coffee,
Mm-hmm.
from CB Rush. He's like a pretty good jungler. I think I've played with him in a couple past seasons or against him. I don't really know anybody on Lotus White, and I don't know anybody on TA Super Cuties. And then I literally have not paid any attention to Cape Dogs Unchained, so I don't know any of those people, honestly. But I would say from our first match, and again, like we were formed like very recent before we started this league. So I think our absolute match was a lot of like rust coming off and like us still like building synergy as a team. But like Mercy's like a very good jungler, so and then their bot lane's like really good. Can't boil water, and I can't remember what their AD carry's name is, but they're also very good. So I would say if it's not us, I would probably say CB Rush or absolute. But I do know at the beginning of the season, when I was looking over the rosters when you guys made the announcements, Lotus White had like some pretty good players that I kind of knew, but not really. I know I just said I didn't really know any of them. But I've heard some of the names, so that's what like Fire Streaks is on Lotus White, right?
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
support.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you heard of Zongi at least. Like, Zongi
Who?
just be saying some silly
we don't
things
know
in
him.
banner chat.
Bro,
But
I don't.
sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ego and say I don't pay attention to irrelevant players, but
Okay.
you know, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, he's
Nah,
not though.
He's serious.
We like that here. So basically, your two, teams to take it all are the two number one seeds across Division A and B, Absolute Esports and CB Rush. I think two organizations and teams that all have also recently won before preseason one. I don't remember what tournament Absolute won, but I know CB Rush won BOL and one other. So I guess if not your team, then it's those teams. So thanks for answering that question. I'll move it on to Zim for the next questions. Thanks, Leaps.
Yeah. So you touched a little bit on being a fairly new team, kind of having just formed, at the start of this season. So with that in mind, what do you think is one of the biggest ways that the team has improved from day one of the LPL to now?
Oh man. I think that we do a lot better about not trying to like make up for our mistakes instead like to save plays. We're a lot better at like getting something else for the play that was made, right? Like we used to play to other people's tempo and it's huge. Like there's a big difference when DZG Olympus is like playing our game and when we're like playing someone else's game, right? But I think that's true for any team really, and that just comes with time. So I would say it's probably just your standard like build synergy over the course of the league. Make sure our champion pools validate each other, et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty much like your typical team stuff, really.
Yeah, and I mean that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, it is your guys' first split, so I mean, synergy is probably the biggest thing. But yeah, I mean, you guys have definitely come a long way from that week one to now. Definitely making some huge waves. So you touched a little bit on it. Banter. We know how fun and lighthearted the Primrose banter chat is. So what is one or more of your LPL hot takes? Based on kind of the banter you've seen.
Dude, if we win this, I'm getting a tattoo. DZG Olympus
Oh
tattoo.
my.
And then I'm going to take a picture on a Sesame Street background and I'm going to say, "What's up, Elmo?"
I'm quoting it. He said he's getting a tattoo. Don't forget
Yeah,
that,
man.
guys. I'm quoting that.
Paid by the owner, paid by Jace. I'll make
Jace
sure.
better,
I'll make
dude,
sure
if
from
he
it.
doesn't.
I'll make sure of it. But yeah, man. I mean, any other hot takes?
Not really. I do really want to play CB Rush, okay? And I've scrimmed Nuffies on other teams, but I do remember him saying something about playing off-roll against a bunch of us plat shitters. And I really want to show him what being a plat shitter really means, honestly.
That
So,
sounds awesome.
Nuffies, I'll see you in the finals, buddy.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. That was some good hot takes. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll turn it over to you, JVL, for some closing questions.
Yeah. One last question for you here, Neves. You said that you played mid lane before. I am a mid laner myself. And I was curious if you think that playing mid lane and moving to jungle brings you a better perspective of how the two roles might work in tandem. We see in competitive a lot of the times that mid and jungle duo are a big factor. So do you think that you have an edge over other junglers because of your previous mid experience?
I think I'm really good at reading the map. The big reason I moved from like mid to going jungle, I've like swapped on and off for both. But the big reason was like I was tired of my junglers feeding, but now I'm really sick of my mid laners not knowing how to get prio or pocket waves. It's actually very annoying. But thankfully Scoops is always there when I need him, so But yeah, I think learning most of the roles like really give you a lot of in-game knowledge and like how the role functions as a core. So I mean anybody that has ever been interested in playing another role, I feel like should like get the practice in. You'll learn a lot more about the game. And I mean we're all sitting here in our freaking underwear and socks, like trying to be quote unquote competitive league players. Like, you might as well just, become a student of the game if you love it enough to spend your Friday, Saturday nights like playing League instead of, going to the bar and picking up chicks or whatever people do.
Yeah, picking up chicks is so overrated when you can get LP. It's
Yeah,
True.
dude.
but,
Can't get COVID from League of Legends.
Yeah, true. Thank you so much, Neeb. So, any closing statements or anything before we head out?
I mean, not really. I just want to give a huge shout out to you guys for running this. Honestly, I love watching Lotus Rewind at work while my subordinates are doing their jobs. And I really enjoy the content everybody brings. Hopefully everyone has a good time in Banter Chat and everyone's enjoyed the league. I think it's been a pretty good season thus far.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you, Neebs. We're going to head over now to the LPL power rankings and a little bit of an in-depth look at the upcoming playoffs. Thank you so much, Neebs, for that great interview. But now let's move on to the LPL power rankings and players of the week. Symphonic, give us the rundown.
Absolutely. So, to no one's surprise, leading the pack, we still got CB Rush here, number 1. Has held it out pretty much every single week for the last 6 weeks. They did take the 2-1 victory over AoE. They did drop game 1, which is a little surprising, not because AoE is a bad team, but because AoE kind of really brought their A game in game number 1. And throughout the series itself, but it definitely caught CB Rush by surprise, which kind of gives every other team, in the standings a little bit of hope that you could definitely catch CB Rush on a bad day. But they are still, number 1 team right now. Number 2, we got Absolute Esports making their way up from 3rd place in the last couple of weeks. They picked up a 2-1 victory over Lotus Black. Definitely hard fought after their loss to Catalyst Wraith last week, or the week before that. So it's definitely good to see them kind of bring back their game and pick up one of their tougher wins. Definitely because Lotus Black has really been putting in the work this season. So definitely bodes well for them as they go into playoffs. And CB Rush and Absolute Esports are securing their number 1 spot here for their divisions respectively. TA Super Cuties comes in number 3. They did take a tough loss to Omega Esports, Omega Runeterra, I'm sorry, this last week. Definitely looked a little surprising. I think it's one of the most surprising losses of the week, but they are going to be dropping down just 1 position, right below Absolute Esports, still above everybody else's. They have still been doing fairly well for themselves ever since week 1. Number 4, we got DZG Olympus. We just had Neebs here. They're still rocking 4th place right now. They got their toughest match yet this last week. Well, they played against Genesis. They went 2-1 Genesis, but they're playing against Catalyst Wraith this week, and there is some definite playoff implications in that matchup, which we'll go through a little bit later. Number 5, we got Lotus Black. Again, they lost to Absolute Esports 1-2. Definitely the toughest, if not the toughest matchup they've had to date. And it was definitely some close games, but they unfortunately weren't able to clinch it. They are still going to be sitting at number 5. Lotus White sitting at number 6 here. They ended up getting a 2-0 from a forfeit this week, looking to take a good matchup this upcoming week against TA Super Cuties, which again we'll go into a little bit later on. At number 7, we got Cape Dogs Unchained. They beat Redacted 2-1. No surprise there. Unchained looking to make up for a couple of previous losses these last couple of weeks, so they're definitely looking to kind of try to keep that 4th seed as they go into this last week. And last but certainly not least, we got Catalyst Wraith still holding up that 8th spot. They also got a 2-0 win from a forfeit, and some again playoff implications are coming up for their next match. Going into players of the week, in the top lane, we have Kenrick coming in from Omega Esports, or Omega Runeterra Esports. Honestly, Kendrick was an absolute monster this last week against TA Super Cuties. He dominated the top lane with Mundo and Mordekaiser. On Mundo, he went 7-2-14. On Mordekaiser, he went 10-2-1. Taking a look at some of the previous weeks, Hendrick has really stepped up from, what we expected. He stepped into those shoes that we expected to see ever since we talked about Omega Runeterra coming into the league. They definitely had a very slow start, but they are looking to pick up the pace in these last weeks, and if everything goes their way, they still have a shot to make playoffs. So Kenrick is going to have to give a repeat performance next week if they want to make it into playoffs. Coming into the jungle, we have our first repeat in players of the week. We got Cafe, who used to be AKM Zealot for CB Rush. He again is making a return from week number 2. He continues to show his dominance in the jungle with 2 back-to-back Hackram games for CB Rush in their win against AoE, where he went 10-0-9 and 4-1-10. So the pony is a monster right now. After stumbling a bit in game number 1 last week, they picked up the pace again. Again, catching CB Rush by surprise is one way that you guys could, definitely look to take them down, but they recover very quickly, and they came back to form in game 2 and 3. To be fair, I think he is one of the junglers to watch out for as we get into playoffs for any team. If you can kind of lower his pace of game and not let him play that high tempo ganking that he likes to do or jungle play that he likes to have, teams will have a chance. But if he gets going, he doesn't stop. In the mid lane, also from Omega Runeterra, we got Zui. He is joining Kendrick in Players of the Week. Again, he's from Omega Runeterra. He's a player I had really high expectations for coming into the whole split, and I'm kind of really happy to see that he's kind of coming into his own and really popping off this week. He played Akali and Syndra. He went 8-2-4 on Akali, 9-5-10 on Syndra. Definitely that pillar for his team, along with Kendrick and some of the other players. And again, Omega has some really big shoes to kind of fill this next week as they are in that playoff implication. And he's going to have a repeat performance along with Kendrick to really try to secure that 4th place spot. In AD Carry, we got Preschooler Zeri from Absolute Esports. They were previously named Arts and Crafts, so they have been AD Carry here for Absolute the entire season. They are probably, I want to say, the key player for Absolute Esports. I think they have been very quietly sneaking under the radar and really being like one of these AD carries that you should really be watching out for. He had amazing series they had an amazing series this last week on the Ezreal, going 10-1-6 and 9-0-4, and only giving up 1 death out of those last 2 games. So they're, Zeri and all of Absolute Esports are looking to end their season strong and secure that number 1 spot. And if you're not careful, Zeri will definitely sneak up on you and really show you what's up. Joining Zeri in the bot lane, we got return again to Players of the Week. We got Preschooler Tay, previously known as Can't Boil Water. She is the support for Absolute Esports. Had fantastic games on Brand 5-3-11, Rakan 2-1-5 in those last 2 games. And I mean, Tay has had some insane performances this season. And adding to that champion ocean, I know we touched base on it again a couple weeks ago when she was Player of the Week. A couple weeks ago, she has played 11 unique champions over the last 6 weeks. So it is impossible to ban her out. She's playing out of her mind, playing all these unique picks, and is fitting whatever the team needs right now. And honestly, I mean, with the help of Tay and the rest of her team, like Mercy Hawk, Absolute Esports has been making a kill in the season, and they are one of those teams to be watching out for. And much like Neep said, one of those teams that could definitely take it all as we kind of get into playoffs. So some honorable mentions for Omega as well, because I kind of want to tie in some of these players that are really, trying to bring it all in this last couple weeks. We got King Civil, the AD carry from Omega Runeterra. He is an AD carry that no one should be sleeping on. Civil is a consistent carry for Omega Runeterra. This man has eaten 9 Sivir Vans over the last 6 weeks. No one wants to see a Sivir, but it doesn't matter. He's been playing Jinx, Caitlyn, Lucian. It doesn't matter. So along with the rest of the team, again, Civil and Omega Runeterra are going to have to really step up this next week to try to secure that 4th place spot. And sticking with ADCs and teams that really have to step up, we've got Confounder, the ADC for Cape Dog's Valor. He was our ADC of the week in week number 1. So, we're kind of giving him an honorable mention here. Cape Dog's Valor has some rough ups and downs over these last couple weeks. But he definitely had some great games against Infinite last week. He is absolutely going to have to bring his A game next week against Lotus Black if they want to have a chance to make playoffs. And finally, games to watch. Speaking of Cape Dogs and Lotus Black, that is my number 1 game to watch right now. Cape Dog Valor playoff hopes ride on this game. They need a 2-0 this match if they want to make it to playoffs, and DZG has to beat Callous Wraith 2-0 in order to make playoffs and secure that 4th place spot. So Lotus Black is coming off of a loss against Absolute Esports. But that honestly makes Lotus Black even more hungry. They're out for blood, and they're looking to emphasize why they are heading into playoffs and why they are one of these teams that should not be dropping any of these games right now. So it'll be a tough matchup, but it's definitely one to watch. And going into our last game of the week to watch, it's Lotus White versus TA Super Cuties. So after an unexpected loss to Omega last week, TA Super Cuties are, they're still looking good, but crazy enough, there's a chance that they don't make playoffs. Even after beating CB Rush a couple weeks ago, there's a chance that they don't make it. All they have to do is win this match, and they're in for playoffs. But if they lose, they have a chance to not make it. And Lotus White, they're not an easy opponent. They've had 1 loss this entire season. So honestly, they're just looking to secure this higher seeding. And if they're Lotus White, they're not worried. They can drop a game. They don't have to. They can win the whole series. They don't have to. But it's really on TA Super Cuties to really step up and make sure that they get into playoffs. But man, that's the LPL. And I'm pretty excited to see what Week 7 brings in before playoffs.
Yeah, things are really starting to get spiced up here. The fact that Super Cuties have a chance to not make playoffs in general is just crazy to me. But thanks so much, Zim, for the rundown for the LPL. We are going to head it over now to the LGL and what Stubby has for us.
All right, so let's get started with the power rankings. And TA Spirit, you're gonna be number one every single week because you guys deserve it. So next week, the team that are facing forfeited due to reasons. So Spirit is gonna be the only undefeated team in both LPL and LGL, going 14-0.
Wow, okay.
I think that's crazy as a team. To be that dominant. It is one division and the other division does exist. I do understand that. But last week they faced CWRU, obviously a 2-0 because every week was a 2-0 or whatever else happened. Game one was slow and, a slow paced game, the TA Spirit style that barely give up any objectives, any dragons. And then game two, Caxi, the man of the hour, who seems to always be talked about every week, winning 2 Smite fights and bringing their team with another W. I remember Caxi saying props to CWRU because they did fight back pretty well. 47 minutes that second game went to. So T Spirit 14-0. Good job, guys. I mean that's a feat that should be honored on its own. And in the number 2 seed, we have New World Esports. I think they recently changed their name a few weeks ago. So in case you're misspoken there, but they had a 2-0 win over Goonsquad Gaming, and I was kind of surprised by this one because I thought Goon Squad was going to be much heavier opponents, but um, they played well. The spotlight was basically on the bot lane of New World. They performed well in both games, and Double Trigger, the ADC, got exceedingly ahead of his opponent to basically win the game for them. So Double Trigger, good stuff there. And then number 3, we have CB Dusk. Some roster changes happened with this team. I feel like this team is always going through roster changes, but I guess to the better for the team. They 2-0'd Team Rattled, and I thought the series would be a lot closer because, again, like I did mention, the team did go through roster changes, but they kind of destroyed them. And their performances were pretty impressive even the last few weeks, but they're not really proven yet because they've just been beating the lower teams of their division. So CB Dusk is number 3, but their roster still has a lot of proving to do in the upcoming weeks. Well, in this upcoming week and then playoffs right after. So good luck for them. And then Imperial Gaming, number 4. They've kind of been consistently, I think, top 4 throughout the split. They do have a bye week this week, so they will end, I think, 11-6. So good on them. And I think they have locked playoffs as well. So congrats to Imperial on that. And then number 5, bringing their way up, is Fiendish Codex. In a much needed win, they took a 2-0 win over Clown Gaming. And Clown Gaming was that other undefeated team along with TA Spirit. And game 1 was a bit back and forth between the two teams, but then Fiendish Codex, they ultimately won. Seemed like Clown was kind of trolling with their draft. They picked Pantheon Swain bot. I mean, I feel like there's some ego thrown around there, but to Clown, does it really matter? They're still making playoffs. They haven't locked in first seed yet, but I mean, they're doing a good job. And then game 2 of that series, Phoenix Codex absolutely murdered them. They did have some interesting Mord flex because the best way to counter engage, especially when a jungle plays engage or a tank, is Mordekaiser. You press R, they can't engage for 8 seconds. That's just how the champion works. So moving on, number 6 is the team that unfortunately lost, but Clown Gaming, you're number 6. You did kind of move down a bit because, I mean, losing to Phoenix Codex made you drop a bit. Phoenix Codex, they had picks like Corki and Jinx, hyperscaling champions, and Clown Gaming couldn't really deal with it. Um, it kind of seemed like a draft diff. So, Clown Gaming did move down, but I think that loss will help Clown Gaming because, like TA Spirit, they haven't, felt defeat yet. And I think losing before playoffs and understanding where your problems are is like one of the biggest assets of losing sometimes because lose is win, right? In some
True.
situations, you can learn so much from losing that, uh, when it comes down to playoffs, when you're in that one best of 5 series, if you play bad that day, then you're out. So I hope Clown Gaming learns a lot from that week. Number 7, we have Goon Squad Gaming. They did lose 2-0 to New World. Um, Both games were really one-sided, like I said earlier. But Good Side Gaming still hanging in there. Looks like they will get a playoff spot, so I'm kind of curious to see how they will do in playoffs. And number 8, we have Team Rattled. They did lose 0-2 to CB Dusk, but um, I mean, they did get smashed, unfortunately, to say so. But they will be fighting for their playoff spot this week against New Wave Paradox, the other Division A team still in the playoffs and still, trying to claw their way in. New Wave Paradox sitting at 7-6 right now, and Team Rattled 6-7. So, I mean, that series has a direct impact on who makes that fourth spot. So, good luck to them. Moving on to the Player of the Week, we have, I think, making their first appearance in Player of the Week is BAP. TA Spirit's top laner. 2 Shen games. I'm a Shen connoisseur myself, so Riot is nerfing this champion just to let you know, Mr. BAP, for next patch. 4-1-13 on Shen, 63% kill participation, 7-2-14 in a 47-minute game on Shen. New TP changes, right? Early dominant lane champions that have globals that you can use before 14 minutes and impact the map are stronger now. Top laners are playing more for laning phase, and Shen has one of the best laning phases, as long as it doesn't get hard countered by like a Mordekaiser or Jace or like Nico or some weird stuff like that. I think Shen excels, especially in this meta, and making, I think this might be the third appearance. Caxi, literal smurf in the jungle. I think probably, I'm gonna say best jungler in LGL. I don't care what you guys say. If you don't like that, you can DM me, but don't DM me. Okay, 629 on Gragas, 2320 on Zac, 61% KP on that Zac game. 2 objectives stolen. Goddamn Smurf. He's leading MVP heading into playoffs. Just clutch player. If I was to say Caxi in one word, I'm gonna say clutch. Because that's just Caxi has just been most consistent player of TA. 14-0 because of that core jungler just popping off, accelerating his lanes every game. That's Caxi for you. In the mid lane, I think making his first appearance is Barak. Moved from ADC to mid. First move from mid to ADC, and got some weird stuff going on there. But Barak, 7-1-10 on Victor, 404 on Corki. The scaling mid laners are in high demand right now. First pick Victor or lose the game, I guess. That champion is absolutely disgusting because Crown is absolutely disgusting. But I don't know. CB Dust, they just seemed more comfortable, especially Brock in mid lane, because I guess that's Brock's main role. But near flawless series, and dished out a lot of DPS in those 2 games. In the AD carry position, it is the Love Hitman from the same team. Sorry, we're going to have a lot of CB Dust players here. I apologize in advance, but they kind of deserved it. So 17-3-10 on Cassiopeia. That's so gross, guys. I hate people that pick Cassiopeia APC, but hey, if you're good on it, then just pick it. Because if you don't kill Cassiopeia before first backs, then you're just going to get wrecked. So that's how that champion works. 12-2-5 on Caitlyn, so not just a Cassio one trick. On his carry pants last week and basically ran wild in 2 very, very fast games. Had over 1,000 DPM in both games. And CB Dust seems like they like to play through bot lane, and that enabled Hitman to basically take over the whole series. And the man helping him out was support. What is his name? Kofos? Lykovs?
Pretty much.
I don't even know. Okay, I know your previous name, but this one, let's go with Lykovs. 2-2-20 on Leona, 5-0-13 on Morgana, and actually Lycofos is the Lycofos. Okay, I'm gonna end it on that one. Lycofos is the only support in both Primrose and Gardenia to basically be averaging nearly an assist every minute. The sample size is small, but that's a feat on its own. I don't know. This was the ex CB Dusk mid laner Chitin before they name changed, and I wasn't really set on the lane swap because you're just putting like a good player that just dominates from mid to support by, hey, it's working out for them right before playoffs. Whatever's going on with that team, it looks like they're fine. Okay, they're fine. So CB Dust, you got 3 players in there this week. You must be doing something right. TA, good job there. Always good job to you guys. And my players to watch out for next week, and maybe even moving into playoffs. Fiendish Codex Gordon, 2-2-11 on Mordekaiser. Countering Batman's pool, just a direct flex pick there, and just hey, we're gonna counter that. I think it was Sejuani that Batman picked, and just got ulted. Stuff happened. And then 609 on Hecarim the game after, 71% KP. So good performances. Game 1, he was all over the map. Gordon, the Mordekaiser pick made Batman's life hell. I mean, I mentioned that before. And Game 2 was a clean 29-minute win where Phoenix Codex won early and just never stopped, pressuring, getting turrets and stuff like that. And my other player to watch out for is Conduit Esports top laner, Great Ribman. Um, Conduit is going against Phoenix Codex for week 7, and I think that Great Ribman has been the rock for Conduit in the sense that being that one person that consistently performs, and I'm excited to see what they bring to the table in a do or die week for Conduit because they kind of have to win, and Phoenix Codex they kind of have to win in a way or not. But that's my power rankings. That's my player of the weeks. Just 2 teams in player of the weeks this week, but those 2 teams deserved it because they played really well. And that's it for the LGL side.
Yeah, I mean, I want to bring up the point that you made earlier, though, about Clown Gaming dropping those games to Phoenix Codex this week, and how you said that sometimes losing before playoffs, I think, is really important rather than losing in playoffs, because you don't get a second chance once you're in playoffs. So, yeah, I think you're definitely right. A team like Clown Gaming, who hasn't really tasted the loss yet, as you put it, could take a lot from losing right before playoff starts and maybe ironing out some of those mistakes before we get into the nitty gritty. But thank you, Stubby, for the rundown of the LGL this week. We are going to go look into a deeper dive on some of the playoff implications. Welcome back. Now that we have an understanding of the LPL and LGL rundowns of last week, and we are kind of gearing now towards the playoffs upcoming, we want to look at some of these teams and some of the implications that we could be seeing. Zymphonic, what are your thoughts on Group A of LPL and who's going to make playoffs, who maybe is right on the cusp or maybe won't make the cut?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, both divisions definitely have their powerhouses, and I think in Division A, I mean, it'd be to no one's surprise that the powerhouse for Division A is Absolute Esports. I mean, they, with players like Mercy Hawk, Zeri, Tay. I mean, they are honestly have been putting on a clinic. Really, I mean, the one loss that they had was definitely a bit of a surprise to everybody. But they seem to have recovered fairly well with their win over Lotus Black. Yes, there isn't a chance that if, by some unforeseen reason they go 0-2 and a team like DZG or Lotus Black were to take, a good 2-0, there's a chance that they might not make first seed. But based on their play, based on their opponent this next week, I truly think that they're going to go ahead and just get that 2-0 and lock in position number 1 or seed 1. Number 2, I actually have DZG Olympus. I think they're going to stick it out. I think that this team was one of my dark horses when we first started the season. I mean, granted, I'm a little biased just because, I do work with the organization, but just kind of seeing them grow, seeing kind of what they've been doing. Yes, they've honestly, as Neeps like to put it, have a warm-up game, and they tend to win most of their series 2-1. I think in best of 5s, I think is kind of where they're going to start shining, where they can really start kind of breaking down what they need to do, getting in that warm-up game and taking those series wins. So I'm going to have them at number 2, on the backs of players like Heartbreak, Ginshu, Mobster Penguin. I think that's really kind of where you're looking at. Number 3, I got Lotus Black. I think they are a very good team. Their loss against Absolute Esports was definitely a tough one. I think they're going to recover this week and do fairly well for themselves. And with players like Quaydog, and Elmo, I mean they have a solid lineup. I mean they have been putting in the work, and I think they are going to be able to secure that number 3 spot. And last 4th seed for Division A, I'm going to give it to Cape Dogs Valor. I had them pretty high up there at the start of the season, both in preseason rankings and as well as the first couple weeks, with players like Demon Prince on something like the Kled, Gregorio, and Confounder. Like I think they've been doing really well for themselves. They've had a bit of a downslope, aside from this last week, but I think they're going to clinch it out. I think they're going to be able to take what they need and do what's needed. I also, on that backside, I feel like DZG is going to beat Catalyst Wraith this next week. I think they'll take the 2-0. So I think that's kind of one of the bigger reasons. So that's probably my hot take, is I think Cape Dogs Valor are lock in that 4th seed.
Okay, Stubby, do you have anything to say aboutZymphonic's takes here, or do you agree?
Dude, he didn't put Catalyst Wraith making it to play. That's crazy to me.
Listen. It's not
That's
like they were questioning,
crazy.
power rankings or players of the week for the longest time. I don't know. Maybe prove me wrong. Maybe prove to me why you should have been there more often.
Okay, well, I mean, my top 4 is the top 4 that's there right now. I think Cape Dogs Valor. Wait, who's Cape Dogs Valor facing? Do you guys remember?
Cape Dog's Valor is going to be playing against Lotus Black, so it's a tough matchup.
That's a big game.
I think Cape Dog's Valor doesn't make it. No offense to Cape Dog's
Okay.
Valor, but I think Callous Wraith is a much better team than Cape Dog's Valor, and I think they definitely deserve that fourth spot. I mean, they can even climb up to third or second. I mean, there's probably like many variables, but I don't want to go through it right now. But I think Callous Wraith deserves more respect. That's your hot take. I'll say they deserve it because even like Mr. Neebs was saying, he has some respect for Shady Gecko and his banter. So my top four is the top four there right now, and pretty simple. But also I think Absolute is my absolute dark horse to win this whole league. By the way, because
Okay.
I think just watching their team is so much fun. I think Mercy Hawk is the best jungler in LPL. You heard it here.
That's a
first.
hot take.
Okay.
No,
That's a hot take.
No, it's true. It's hey, mate. Mercy Hawk has some crazy numbers on there. I mean,
Yeah.
he was player of the week. You know, he definitely is one of the bigger like driving forces behind Absolute Esports. So like, yeah, I mean, you know.
All right, that's enough about Group A. What do you have here for Group B, Zymphonic?
Yeah, Group B. I think it's no one's surprise. Division 1, Seed 1. I got to give it to CB Rush. You know, on the backs of like Nuffies, Cafe, you know, Rutledge, like they're a powerhouse. We said at the beginning of the split in preseason they were my number 1 team. They've consistently held the number 1 spot. Yes, they did drop their game against TA Super Cuties. I think it's stuff that I don't think anybody expected TA Super Cuties to take that 2-0. But I do think that they've recovered fairly well. I don't think they dropped their game this week. And I think they're just going to be able to secure that number 1 spot. And I think they're the team to beat. I know there's a lot of hype behind them, but I feel like with all the experience that they have, you know, coming out of their win of Blue Otter League, I think they're the team to beat, and it's going to be fun games to watch. Coming in seed number 2, I'm going to give it to TA Super Cuties. I think their loss last week against Omega was, again, unexpected, but I think they'll recover, just based off of how they recovered after their, you know, week 1 slump into the rest of the season, you know, with Daydream, Nubly, Manatsu, some of those guys. They have a lot of veteran experience with some of these players, and I think it's showing as they keep playing. And especially in those extended series, kind of similar with CB Rush, that veteran experience is really what holds teams together. And I think once we get to those best of 5s, it'll really show kind of why they deserve that number 2 spot and why they can make a running for the whole thing. Coming in number 3, I got Lotus White. You know, with Saint Alucard, Crits, Necrox, I mean, some of these players were already my players of the week, you know, in previous weeks. And I mean, they've only dropped 1 series so far. And they are a very, very good team. And again, I think they also have a lot of experience behind them. I think in these extended series, I think it's going to be where they're really going to shine. And they have some, I'm sure they have some crazy picks. And I mean, they've just been doing fairly well. Last, again, my hot take, I think Cape Dogs Unchained is going to lock in that 4th seed. With players like Eatloaf, Kovu, Adam Suki, like they are a very good team. Again, some of the slump that they had in the last couple of weeks have been kind of unexpected, but it does seem like they've recovered. It does seem like they're looking to end the season strong, and I think they're going to take the number 4 seed out of this division.
Okay, Stubby, again, any contradictory beliefs here?
All right, this time I'll give Zymphonic the W because I think
Okay.
he got it pretty on point. But CB Rush, I think CB Rush, Lotus White, and then 3rd and 4th, I got no idea between TA Super Kitties and Cape Dogs Unchained. But Omega Gaming Runeterra is still in there in a way or not. But
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed with Omega Gaming Runeterra. On paper, their team looked like they were going to be monsters. I know Acid missed one of the weeks, but I mean, this kind of proved that your jungler can't really 1v5 leagues to a W. But I don't know. If Omega Gaming Runeterra wins, I'd be kind of scared to face them because they've kind of been on the rise lately. So I guess that's my hot take there. I don't think Omega Gaming will make it, but if they do, then I'd be scared of them if I was one of the other 3 teams. But
Okay.
Yeah,
pretty standard stuff. I think this division's pretty much all set.
Yeah, I think Omega is definitely one of those teams that can definitely surprise some people. They've also got a lot of veteran players on there, and I think if they can make it into the playoffs, I think those best of 5s is again where they're really going to be doing what they do best and dragging those games because they've got a lot of players who have won leagues, who have made deep playoff runs. It's just they had a really rough start, and like you said, they were a little underwhelming to kind of start off with. But if they can clinch it, I think they're on the up and up, and I think they would be a contender to sneak in some wins and maybe make it to the end.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, with LPL now settled, I want to shift focus over to Stubby and the LGL. Stubby, what are your thoughts on Group A and playoffs coming up?
Well, Group A, actually, there's only two teams fighting for a spot because TA Spirit has locked first, 14-0. CB Dusk has already locked second, 10-3, regardless of the outcome of next week. And then Imperial Gaming has already locked third. What are they at? 11-6. So
Mhm.
New Wave Paradox and Team Rattled are actually the teams that are going to be fighting for a spot. And my team to make it um, is Team Rattled. I've kind of been disappointed with the New Wave teams because I had them ranked pretty high early on. But I think Team Rattled takes it. Wait, are they facing each other? I think they are facing each other.
Uh, Team Rattled is
Team
yeah,
Rattled.
they're facing each other.
That's
New Wave Paradise
crazy.
for Team Rattled. That is
That
winner,
Huge.
winner take fourth.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that's
huge.
big.
the pressure's on. That's like a playoff series type of pressure because it's either win or go home, like you just said. So
Yeah.
I have Team Rattled personally making it because that's just how I've seen them play and them grow throughout the split. I think they take it over New Wave. I guess that's my top four or my top one that I can only vote on.
Okay. All right. Then finally, you're gonna let Stubby slide on these top four. I'd say up two are pretty set,
Yeah.
so kind of hard to argue
Yeah,
with that one.
honestly, it's tough to to make a case for it. I think you're right. I do think Team Rattle's going to take it here for fourth seed, especially with how they've been playing. I mean, they average less stats, they average more kills. Their game time's a lot faster than New Wave, and I mean, if there's one thing that Team New Wave Paradox can do is, I mean, they can run away with it. I mean, they've had some close series. They can definitely run away with some stuff. They do. I'm sorry, they do average more kills. So I mean, I guess if it's a bloodbath and New Wave Paradox can get off to a really good start, if they average those higher kill numbers, then maybe they can run away with like just snowballing through some of these series. But with the way Team Rattle has been playing, I don't think that's going to be the case. I feel like their approach is just going to be a little bit more methodical. I feel like they're going to be able to kind of clinch in that number 4 spot. But who knows? I mean, like you said, this is probably going to be one of the matches to watch, as it has probably the biggest implications, since like you said, it's almost like a playoff match in itself, like what team makes it. So it'll be interesting to see what each team does with that kind of pressure on the line already before playoffs even start.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's move on to Group B now. Stubby, what do you think?
All right, so Group B is kind of wide open between 5 teams in terms of seeding.
Okay.
So those two, so there's 5 teams competing: Clown Gaming, New World Esports, Goon Squad Gaming, Conduit Esports, and Fiendish Codex. If Clown Gaming wins 2-1 over Goon Squad Gaming, they lock first. So that's why I think they will, and they're gonna take first seed because I think Clown Gaming is just a better team. And then for me, second place, I have who's there right now, which is New World Esports. If they do take the 2-0 win over Ghost Riders Legacy, then they lock second seed. But Ghost Riders Legacy got their first win last week, so their stocks are going up. I believe in those guys to at least maybe take a game or two. But I do have New World as second. Um, excuse me, God, I'm still dying. Okay, and then for the third seed, which might be a little bit controversial here, I have Fiendish Codex. Um, now, as we mentioned before, Team Rattled versus New Wave Paradox, Fiendish Codex is facing Conduit Esports, and there is a way where both these teams don't make it. But I think Fiendish Codex has been on the rise lately. I think they've kind of found their identity, and that's why I think Fiendish Codex is going to 2-0 Conduit Esports. And through other series and other stuff, I think Conduit will slip out. But Conduit is also a team like, to me, it's like Omega Game and Runeterra. If they make it into playoffs, if I'm the other teams, I'd be kind of scared to face them in a best of 5 series because I think best of 5 series are much more volatile than best of 3. There's like best of 3 is okay, you win 2 games and you move on, whatever. Best of 5 is after that third game, you start getting really tired and really exhausted and you start getting mentally drained. So best of 5 series I think is a whole different playing field. So that's why I think if Conduit does end up making it, I'd kind of be scared to face them because they do have playoff experiences in other leagues. And for me, my fourth spot is going to be Goon Squad Gaming, a team that I had really high up early on because I thought they were super good, but they've been on the decline lately. But they do lock in a fourth seed. I think if they just pick up one win over Clown Gaming with a 1-2 loss, which is what I think will happen, So those are my top 4. I'm gonna go Clown Gaming first, New World Esports second, Fiendish Codex in the 3rd seed, and Goonsod Gaming in the 4th seed.
Okay, Symphonic, does Stubby get the pass on Group B?
See, I think first 2 seeds are fine. I
Okay.
think I agree. Clown Gaming definitely for sure. I mean, they got Batman. I mean, like, what do
Yeah,
you really
true.
do? How do you beat Batman with all this with all the planning time he's got? Like, there's no way. New World Esports looking real good. I love Ghost Riders Legacy. I got to cast their game last week. They looked awesome. I was pretty excited to see them win. I think New World beats them, but like, we'll see. We'll see. You never know. They might pull out a 2-0 and then really throw us for a loop.
Yeah.
Number 3 and 4, right? I think
It's
Conduit
hard,
Esports.
man. It's
Yeah,
hard.
it's hard.
man.
I think Conduit
It's so
Esports makes
hard.
it.
Okay.
I think
Wait,
Conduit
Conduit
Esports makes
makes
it. I don't know if they make it their 3 or 4. Like, that's kind of tough just because it really is the outcome of like Clown Gaming versus GSG. Like, that's kind of the tough part, whether or not GSG drops or takes that second or even third or even second seed. But it's Fiendish Codex versus Conduit Esports this week. So it's almost, again, it's literally another one of those winner potentially take all.
It's crazy.
I don't know, man. I kind of think when it comes to winner take all, you kind of mentioned the experience that some of these players got. I think Conduit Esports takes it. I like Fiendish Codex. Don't get me wrong. Like, I funny enough, I've had one of the teams that I've been working with play against them. They have a great coach. I think Liam, right? Liam's their coach.
Yeah.
And Liam's crazy. Don't get me wrong. But I think Conduit takes it if Liam kind of like forgets how to draft. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
I think there's a chance. There's a chance. There's a chance. And I want to hype him up too much, but it's kind of, there's a chance. But I don't know, man. Conduit, they had a really good start of the season. They kind of fell on the wayside later on. But with that experience that they do come, I mean, coach aside, I mean, their players, like you said, extended series, right? And I mean, with that playoff implication on the line, I feel like they will do what they need to do with that pressure on them. So I'm going to give it to Conduit to take it. 3 or 4. It really, again, depends on GSG. But if anything, I think Conduit makes it over Fiendish. And I unless GSG drops both their games against Clown Gaming, like, even if they do that, they're still 9-7, and Fiendish, if they don't win, would be out. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Conduit. I'm gonna give it to Conduit to take the 4th or the 3rd spot there.
Okay, I like that.
Oh, well,
I like that.
yeah.
Changing it up a bit, but yeah, I do believe in Conduit in an extended series. So I mean, good luck to them and Fiendish Codex, respectively.
All this playoff talk has me so excited for playoffs. I'm so ready for it to just start now. And it's so crazy that a lot of these games are really coming down for the last week or the last set of games here. It's just make it or break it. Everything's on the line. So I want to see everything left out there on the Rift, and I'm so excited to get into playoffs and then really get the cream of the crop games going here. But any closing statements from either of you before we head into the exit here for today?
Please provide some banger gameplay. I would appreciate that going into playoffs. Top laners, if you run Ignite, I will flame the shit out of you because I think I hate
What do you mean? TP's bad now.
TP's bad now. Exactly. That's why they got Ignite in their heads or Ghost. At least run Ghost, you run faster. But yeah, I mean that's all I got. You can go ahead, Zim.
Man, I mean LPL teams. I mean, you guys are nuts. Definitely keep giving us some more content. I gotta be looking out for you guys, going through all your Discord profiles to see if you guys even streamed your games. So please give us some content so we can kind of keep seeing you guys, because some of these matches are going to be fire for both Gardenia and Primrose. So the more perspectives, the better, so that we can give you guys the best rundown of Week 7 next week.
Yeah, and we're going to head out now. We're going to go into the clips of the week. But I'm looking at you guys out there. Send us your clips. We need more clips. So, yeah, this upcoming week, send us all your clips, and then we can get you maybe here on Lotus Rewind. But that's going to be it for us today. Thank you once again, Neebs, for the interview. And yeah, we will see you guys next time.
I'm a puppet on a string, Tracy Island, time traveling diamond, could have shaped heartaches. I come to find you for in some velvet morning, years too late. She's a silver lining, Lone Ranger riding through an open space. In my mind, when she's not right there beside me, I go crazy, 'cause here isn't where I wanna be. And satisfaction feels like a distant memory, and I can't help myself. days underneath the deep end, keep imagining meeting wished away. Entire lifetimes unfair, we're not somewhere misbehaving for days. Great escape, lost track of time and space. She's a silver lining, climbing on my desire, and I go crazy, 'cause here isn't where I wanna be. And satisfaction feels like a distant memory, and I can't help myself. All I wanna ever say is, are you mine? Well, are you mine? Are you mine? Are you mine? And the thrill of the chase moves in mysterious ways. So in case I'm mistaken, I just wanna hear you say you got me, baby. Are you mine? She's a silver lining, Lone Ranger riding through an open space. In my mind, when she's not right there beside me, I go crazy, 'cause here isn't where I wanna be. And satisfaction feels like a distant memory, and I can't help myself. All I wanna ever say is, are you mine? Well, are you mine? Are you mine? Are you mine? Are you mine? And the thrill of the chase moves in mysterious ways. So in case I'm mistaken, I just wanna hear you say you got me, baby. Are you mine? She's a silver lining, Lone Ranger riding through an open space. In my mind, when she's not right there beside me, I go